schedule you write down all the things that you want to fit into your week, and then you just make a schedule of it, and then attempt to stick to it. That's kind of blasty right there, I guess. I mean, is it maybe? And try to stick to it. And if it doesn't work out well that week for whatever reason, switch it up for the next one, and try to. Over time, you're modifying it again and again. Eventually, arrive at a great formula.
I live a very non-regimented life. I'm always very improvisational.
Mine's more regimented.
It's strange because I don't really feel like an impulsive person, but I do make impulsive decisions.
Impulsiveness and being unstructured are not necessarily the same thing, though. I don't really see you as impulsive either.
But I will be all the time.
Even yesterday when you went over to the gym, I don't feel like that was impulsiveness. I feel that was something else.
How would you? What do you mean?
Well, you referred to it as impulsiveness. You said it was an impulse. And I mean,
I
yes.
still feel it is, but
Yes, in the sense of like, oh, I just had the thought and then I just had to go.
right.
But
It was a very strong, again, it's a part of my...
I probably consider that weakness more than impulse, though, given that context. And given it was something you were struggling
But
with.
the gym is something very, very important to me.
Oh, no, I know it is, but
It's strange, you and my dad are saying the same thing. The other morning,
Really?
I got on the scale and saw that it was 170. I was getting pissed off, aggravated, yelling, wanted to punch holes on walls. I wasn't that bad, but I was really bent out of shape. My dad visibly saw me and was like, why are you like this? And I was like, because I put in the work. I've already been past 170. I was 160. I was 155. Why am I back here? How did I let myself sit? And it's frustrating to have
I
accomplished
understand.
something and to go back.
but you're not going back. And that's what, you don't understand how the context has changed. You may also not understand how much muscle mass you've accumulated, and maybe you should get that tested out.
Yeah, possibly, but I also recognize that I've also put on fat as well, in addition to that. The muscle mass I've gained, I know, but I also look at myself and I know how much fat I've gained too.
Before, when we were at my house, and
I couldn't look at myself in the mirror and whatnot.
no, I remember when you were like changing your pants. I went outside for a second because I had to pee. But I came back in and I thought I heard you breathing really heavy.
I was
near
probably
the
doing
door.
push-ups.
Were you doing that when I was gone?
Yeah.
Okay. Because I was very confused for a moment. I thought you were getting angry, like at the mirror or something. And I was a little freaked out, like, oh. But then
I
I'm like,
might have been doing push-ups. Oh, right before you knocked, before you came in.
shortly.
Oh, that's strange. Because I don't think I did push-ups then. I may have.
I heard you getting just this intense breathing. And it sounded like you were walking around, but when you got near the door, it sounded like you were like... You don't remember that at all?
Not in great detail. I know I did push-ups in the bathroom at the federal.
In the what? Really?
It was like 60.
Nice.
I did probably go in there and do 60 more. It's because I need to actively use my tablets.
And you need to feel like you're doing something to oppose the... Yeah, I know what you mean.
To combat that. Especially since I've done myself go in my mind, I feel myself. I'm best at like 60. And the scale reaches 60, I'm good. It's such a strange thing. That's an identity thing.
Because for you, it's not really about whether or not you're attractive. It's whether or not you look like you feel or look like you want to look.
Right. Yes.
It's just, you have this image in your mind. If you can't meet that, then you're not you.
Yep.
But it's not about whether you look good or not. It's just
looking good isn't the goal. Like
Yeah.
I know that I'm, whether or not. That's subjective. I can't
It's just
change-
about
I
meeting
can't-
that image
I
in your
can't
mind.
change. Looking good is like is a strange thing because it's subjective. So what I might find good, somebody else might not find good, vice versa. So the only thing that's the highest truth to me, I want to look good to me.
Yeah. Well, I feel similarly.
I have to look good to me. Strange as that may sound.
No, it doesn't at all. I feel the same. I'm the only one I've ever had to please.
Yeah.
Other people didn't tell me to. I wasn't anorexic because I felt like it wasn't about girls. It wasn't about society. I just wanted to look like I felt inside.
When I dated Elena, she was like 89 pounds, 91 pounds. Tiny little thing.
Was she struggling with eating disorder, or is it just because she's small?
She has diabetes type 2.
Oh wow.
She shouldn't even be drinking.
Wow.
I remember she would chain smoke cigarettes and eat trash. And I remember I had to inject her with insulin one time in my dining room just because she was having a seizure. Yeah.
Damn.
Me and her went through a lot. And
And she was like,
to see her in the States tonight, yeah, she just looked like a rampant mess.
she looked like she's about to explode, and she was like, I'm more mature than all the other people my age, and I had to look down for a second.
No, she's younger than us though.
By how much though?
She's younger than me by like 4 years.
So like 23,
I was like 23, so she was like 18.
but still she seems like she's about to explode.
But she has this kid, single mom.
Yeah. Man.
You know what I mean? Yeah, it's kind of bizarre. Oh, I didn't even offer you any blah
That's okay. You want some of this? I ate a lot this month.
Yeah, but she was saying things about like, my kid to be gone, can I just sell my kid off?
I'm gonna put it back in the vagina with the few said.
She did say that too, and I was just like, all these things are not okay. I worry about that kid. I worry about that kid a lot.
Yeah.
But she has like, she has like a crazy mom. Her mom's crazy.
But you can't just come out and say that, so it's such a weird, delicate issue.
Yeah, what's the point of anyone saying that? I'm so glad I dodged the bullet.
With getting out of that relationship.
I could have been involved in it.
Yeah.
Oh God, I'm so glad I didn't. This is celebration for that.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're doing great.
Did you need more coffee?
No, not at this moment. Thank you.
What would you name your new project? Do you have any names? Like, do you just keep like a document of names that you'd like to use someday? Cool.
There's a bunch. There's a bunch of things that I want to
Give me an example.
do. Starwind.
Star Wind.
Or Vesuvius was one of them. Vesuvius.
Just call the whole project The Mind of a Stray Bullet or whatever that was.
Zayomara was one of them. Zayomara was a serious one. Neverscapes.
These are so sci-fi.
One was Avian. I think it's a banner right now.
Like a bird?
Yeah. Just like it. It looked cool. Like I would throw it in under any font and it would just look just the letters. A-V-I-A-N. It looked so like A-N-V. I don't know. I just thought it looked cool. Like when you see Alien, like
Yeah.
the font for Alien when it comes up and it's like
Just starts filling in the little spots, yeah.
Zayomara was one.
How do you spell that?
Xiomara. It's a name. There's a girl I went to middle school. Zayomara.
Then why would you name a project after that?
It's a common name.
Then why would you name a project that in the first place? So what's the, just because it sounds cool?
I had a crush on her.
So is that like symbolic to you? Of like the
little
first
bit.
girl you had a crush on?
She wasn't the first, no. The first was Veronica. But she was one of them.
Veronica, what's her last name?
Puerto Rican, Dominican, Mexican.
In New York?
But yeah.
Did you ever even have a girls have cooties stage?
Yeah.
You did? Because I was
Only
like the
some
only guy in my
girls-
class who bypassed that.
Only some girls had cooties. There was one, Naomi, she had cooties because she was hairier than the rest. I just remember having hair in her arms. It was
At age?
kindergarten.
Oh wow.
She had hairy, bushy eyebrows, and she looked like a Muppet to me. Like Naomi.
Oh man, I had a crush on a girl named Naomi when I was 10.
I hated that name, Naomi.
Really?
It sounded like a smell brat.
The hairy name.
It sounded like a smell brat, and she was hairy,
Yeah.
and she was just cooties.
I know exactly what you mean. Though.
It's very like immature juvenile brain of mine.
I was like a romantic anytime I was 5 or younger.
There was a girl named Zuri.
What?
Z-U-R-I, Zuri.
That's
She
interesting.
was a bookworm from the jump. Bookworm all the time. Kindergarten, first grade, second year, I think. And then after that, I don't remember. Yeah, I liked Zuri. I didn't like her. I always felt like she was gonna be my girlfriend. But it never happened. Like, it felt like everybody kind of wanted us to be together. Because we're both like small.
In kindergarten?
Yeah.
I felt like everyone in kindergarten was.
Yeah. It was strange.
I love the way that Christina, yeah.
You gonna have things like that?
In what sense?
Being in the classroom and all the other kids.
When everyone's that young, I don't think there was any romantic plots in that. I can no.
Really?
In kindergarten? No.
5 years old and 6 years old? Absolutely.
Everything's so good?
Yeah, it's the
Great.
Yeah, you never heard that? In kindergarten.
Yeah.
Yeah, there was romance in kindergarten.
No, I know
It
that.
totally was.
Yeah, but it was like in my kindergarten. Well, no, I need to tell you about. I was like those boys that talking about, like those nutty. Yeah,
I had a lot of personality.
I was messed up at that age. Not like a jerk, outgoing way, but
So, her stories are fascinating. They're really cool. But because of my relationship with her, I don't believe anything.
I think it's all fake. I was wondering.
I don't know. I don't care. I'm just like, cool story, bro.
Really, it was interesting
I'm
nonetheless.
always, yeah, it is, and I like to hear her out. Just her like, staring out into space while responding to me.
Yeah.
Like I'm just looking at her, and she's staring off, and like she's responding, but she's not. Almost as if,
Yeah, it was
almost
very
as if she's like.
surreal.
It almost seemed like she's a like a beacon, but like like somebody's like an alien's like typing a message from outer space, and it's
And it
like,
reaches her, and then she says, "Okay, yeah."
like she's just like,
Yeah.
and it's not coming from her. It's just
Yeah.
the alien.
That's awesome.
It's weird. That's all I thought. It's like,
Oh man.
this girl, and she was so polar opposite to Elena
That was so weird, yeah. Those kind of pairings are so strange. You have to ask what is up with it. Like, who's benefiting from this, and what's.
I don't think either of them could be.
Who's to say? I mean, it might be some kind of strange. I don't know. I mean, that does happen sometimes.
Yeah, I can see it.
Man. Huh? You thinking about that still? That thing you want to
I
do?
think I want to do it. Something to that degree. I want to do a musical side project for Goth Night.
For what? Yeah, I love that. I mean, do it for yourself, and then bring it to, yeah.
I'll do it for Goth Night.
You'll do it specifically for Goth Night?
Yeah.
Would you have to? I guess you'd have to tailor it differently than you would if it was a very personal project, though.
It's not really my main thing. It's already a side project, even though it's not.
Yeah. No, I know what you mean. It's not what you see yourself ultimately doing, but it's a way to kind of have fun on the way there.
If it were to blow up, then it would be cool too, because it has elements that I appreciate too. But like I would resonate with it more than I would Mongrels.
Yeah.
What are you doing?
I don't know.
I feel like this is a jerk. What are you doing? This is so like.
I was doing that. I do that sometimes when I just start phasing out and going out of like dissociating from my body. I was doing it at the concert the other night.
At least it's a telltale. Freaking Jamie was just in space.
I was doing it a lot when we were at the Dapper Dance, but I think that every single time I did it, Kelly saw me doing it. Because I'd be doing it and then I'd just see her laughing.
Dude, what is with that?
What?
Kelly at Dapper Dance and Elena at Goth Night. Two of my exes.
Are you calling this solipsism?
Yeah.
I mean, you freaking invited Kelly. I mean,
That's true. That is true. With no intent either. It's like, come out and have a time. Elena, not quite. I blocked her on all social media, which she seemed like she was complaining about. But felt that it had to happen. You know?
it was the first
Give y'all these, but there's no rush, okay?
Okay, thank you.
What's that?
Oh, voice recorder.
Voice recorder.
We're just taking notes in a conversation.
Quiet now.
I was gonna say that was the first phone number I've ever seen with R's in it.
First what?
First phone number I've ever seen with R's in it.
She's so hard on.
I know.
She's so dumb. And she had just gotten there. I didn't even watch her drink.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
What is this down here? DW. Oh, is that her initials?
Yeah.
Okay.
I suppose so. There it is again. 666.
666. Oh my gosh. Really? No, 660. It's 6'6" fetus.
That looked like 666.
It does, but it's like a 3 or a fetus or a 0. Okay. Yeah.
One fetus.
Hold on, Reginald.
So you like the idea with like the fetal skulls?
I do.
I like that. I like both of the ideas.
I wear it as a pouch.
That's what I'm talking. Every time I picture it right here. I keep patting my shoulders when I
I
think
even
of
wear
it.
it over something like this. That I'm wearing right now.
I think we should have some kind of uniform, which is not the same for both of us, but we each have something that's like our main outfit. Like to what? I don't know what you mean by that. Okay.
I know. He plays not to go, man. You ordered to get that one. Okay. Would you like a copy of your tea? You know what you like, man? Steak, egg, and cheese. How would you like your steak prepared? And let me know if I see the cheese. I got one, 3, I got one. copy of that. We have Coke products. So we've got Coke, Diet Coke, Mr. Pibb, Sprite, lemonade, orange juice, root beer. Thank you.
I say that 4 different times. So hard to let you in, so I have to
You good? Why do you look like you're slinking away? Did something happen?
I'm done paying.
You just had such a suspicious. You look like pissed off when you're walking off, like you just.
Really?
Like outside the door.
Really?
I was confused. I thought like it was like the shit. I left my wallet in the car, but she just made a fool of me. Kind of.
No.
Like
It was actually the sweetest like transaction ever. She was like, "Did you enjoy everything?" I
Oh,
was like,
okay.
"Yeah." It was like nothing like what you interpreted as.
I was just confused for a moment. It's funny. I bet you still out-tipped me. What? Why? I thought I stepped on something, but then when I looked, there was nothing there. Is that what you mean? I did? Oh, wait. So wait, you just misinterpreted me too?
Yeah, I did. Are you walking around? I said you looked at the bridge or something.
I stepped on something. I looked down. There was nothing there, so I was confused. It was like I kicked a turtle, but like a Mario Brothers.
Let's see.
How much did you tip?
Hey, ha, ha. Hey.
That's how you spell her name?
What were you asking?
Oh, nothing.
Oh, how much I tipped? $3.
$3?
Yeah.
Me too.
We got $6.
We tied the tip.
$6. 666.
Oh my god.
Alright, so where are we going next? Guess home?
You wanna do that?
Yeah, I don't know.
You tired?
Yep.
You sound like you could go either way.
I've been tired since before we.
Oh, that's right.
But I did get a second win though. And I just ate coffee. I just drank coffee.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
I mean, if you even want to hang out in my room for a little bit, or it depends on what you want to do.
I think I'm gonna head home and sleep after I drop you off.
All right.
Yeah, because.
That's
would
best
like it,
for
though.
me too.
I am enjoying it though. I
Yeah.
honestly really am hanging out.
I've enjoyed it quite a bit.
Yeah, tonight was really, really cool.
Yeah.
Made me realize that I want to do golfy shit.
Yeah.
Who knew?
Man, I so wish that
What's
just
that?
doing music. Oh, I would do anything. I would give anything to be able to do it again.
I know you're probably gonna feel that way a lot with me because that's. my
I'll live vicariously through you.
Yeah, which is strange because
What?
it's more pressure on me.
Oh no, not in that way. It's
Yeah.
no, it's not about the material either. I just want to watch you have fun with it, you know. And I want to be able to help you when you get stuck.
I get stuck often. Though.
You know what? And I'll help you often.
And the thing is, like,
I've got so many tips and tricks for not getting stuck. I never got stuck once.
Yeah, it's kind of wild.
I teach
But I
people
don't
how to
wanna- I don't
avoid
wanna-
writer's block.
I don't want to. Yeah, that's it. That's it right there.
That's
I
one of the
spoke
big
to-
things I do with creative coaching.
I spoke to Will about that actually.
Really?
Yeah.
What does he have to say about it? Does he deal with it?
He said that that you'd be a great resource to tap into in that sense. Like,
Was this like today or yesterday or something?
Today's conversation.
That's crazy.
Yeah,
Well, that is my thing. It's always finding a way to rework the situation so that I'm no longer blocked. It's a very...
It was a really cool conversation. It made me realize that he really liked you.
Really?
He really likes you, yeah.
That's
It
what I'm
was-
getting from just these few snippets.
But I think the thing is that he lives too far out Yeah, he says like there's a ton of people that I want to hang out with and devote more time to, but I just don't have the opportunity.
Oh, did he say that?
Yeah.
Just speaking in general?
Well, that was more.
In general.
No, that was actually more specifically aimed towards me and the
Okay.
goth night, because I told him that we were going to that, and he was like, "Whoa, that sounds cool. That sounds awesome."
Yeah.
We talked for a little bit. Yeah, we talked about.
And where was this at?
Material. It was on our Facebook.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, on Messenger. So it was
Cool.
really cool. Great little conversation.
Yeah.
But he had a lot of very positive things to say.
I haven't even
Regards.
talked to him online since adding him weeks ago.
So, am I taking this one?
Not that's the mall. So you'll want to take the next one near the light. Well, no, that will go to Camber's Mountain. You'll want to take the one after that.
Okay. So just go straight?
Yeah, keep going straight. Yeah, I do wish I had the chance to just hang out with him one-on-one, or just even just hang out where there's not loud music playing. He's
Yeah.
always walking around busy
I've had-
between
I've
tests.
had instances where that was the case, where I hung out with him. And, you said the next one, right?
Next one, yeah.
I had instances to hang out with him.
Oh wait, not this one, not Camber's, but the next one up here, yeah.
Right. Yeah.
I haven't got that
We-
instance in over a decade.
We went to New York together.
You and Will?
Me, Will, Philip, and Adam. We went to go see Cult of Luna.
Really? Well, that's
We
cool.
stayed in a hotel. It was a really good time. We were there for a week.
Nice. And when was this, like a year ago?
But yeah, it was last August.
Okay.
A little over a year now.
How many big concerts do you see a year where you travel to go see them? It seems like you got
That
a
was the
few.
last big one.
Okay.
Cult of Luna. That was a really big one too. I haven't been to one in a while, and yeah, this one coming up is going to be huge for me.
And when is that? November? Did you say? Or?
November 7th.
And that's Leprous,
Leprous and Haken. Leprous is my favorite band.
and it's out of state, right?
It's in either
Carolina?
North Carolina or Maryland. I forget which one. I know it's one of the two dates. I just was like, all right, both of them are equal distance. I'm choosing one.
Who else is playing?
It's Haken and a band called
Okay, that's right. Yeah.
Bent Me.
Then-
And Bent Me, I actually really thought was interesting. They're like a Berkeley school of music.
College? Yeah.
Yeah, Berkeley school.
Like jazz?
Dude, they're so weird. It's so weird.
Like avant-garde jazz fusion?
No,
kinda?
it's not that kind of weird. I don't know how to describe it. It's my
Or just like unlike the other acts, kind of weird.
Yeah, pull up a song by Bent Me.
Okay.
Or yeah, off their latest record.
Okay.
I think like the second song or third song, yeah. I listened to it. Is it coming up?
I haven't searched it. The sound of how it was worded.
That's one thing, man. I wanted to ask you about this.
Yeah.
But like inaction itself is a killer. Like it feels like
Oh yeah.
in not acting, you miss out on so many opportunities.
Oh, no, I agree.
That's become my greatest motivation for even being out in public and being.
Oh, I agree fully.
integrating. And I know you recognize that, yeah.
Yeah. I mean,
So-
even though there's still some things that are beyond what I'm comfortable with, I still, just being where I am right now is me putting myself out there and thinking of the
Right.
future instead of the present.
I'm glad you're on that same.
Oh yeah,
wavelength.
I agree 100%. And I mean, with each week, I'm overcoming more of these stupid little hurdles, and I fully intend to overcome the rest of them.
Yeah, it's definitely not an overnight process. Nothing
Yeah.
is an overnight process. It might be a lifelong process.
Oh yeah, I'm fine with that.
Yeah, and that. But,
And that doesn't discourage
but the
me.
inaction is such a
It's a waste.
it's
a waste of
the
potential.
potential and the
Yeah.
opportunity that could come from it, and I recognize that now too, because I realize that in order to truly become this image of myself, so many things had to change, and I took so many massive leaps, like starting off at the gym and
Yeah.
getting my own place and getting my own car. Like there's so many little areas of growth that I just
man, I
threw
agree.
myself into, and Yeah, so like I
Since about August, I think I've been in this constant throwing myself at the lions and just hoping they don't eat me.
one thing that's difficult, and I feel like this is an INTP thing, though, like a traditional, from my understanding of it, that I feel like I'll never really be a master of anything. I'll always just dabble in other things and incorporate it to my framework, and that makes me good at adequate at multiple things, but it doesn't make me a true
jackass of all trades.
I don't really ever.
Well, that's because your pool is shallow but wide, whereas mine is narrow but deep.
Narrow but deep, yeah.
It's a JP divide in many cases.
Okay.
Of focus
I'm
and
curious
attention.
about that. Yeah, my focus does. It wavers a lot.
But they both have their strong suits, and not one is greater than the other. Mine's not greater than yours. I have my specialties, but that's all I have.
Right.
I mean, you probably have more general knowledge than I do.
Could be.
But I could just beat these 3 topics up: sleep, and
It's more than
mysticism, and just
also
things like that.
your methodology is a lot different than mine too.
Oh, my methodology is different than everyone's. It's so carefully cultivated over a lifetime of freak
But
accidents.
I find it really, fascinating. And I think we each have resources, like you've said before, like
That the
you'll
other
have some
lacks, and
strengths,
then,
and I'll have some strengths as well. And somewhere in the middle, like we can really.
And it's adding to our synergy rather than subtracting from it. It's adding to, it's making us more compatible in a
So
way.
long as that remains to be. And I know that I'm horrible about punctuation. Or,
Punctuality.
Punctuality.
Yeah. You can be.
I'm really, really bad about it, and that's something that I hate to be so consistently bad at it. But it's everything. It's every facet of my life. Getting to work,
Yeah.
getting to anywhere.
Well, being able to understand that, and I mean, that right there helps.
Yeah. It does help.
Even though I still like to understand what's going on at any given moment.
I think for me, this is something that I struggle with like video or like extroverted people. That's something that I really wish I had the knack for, but like they will overexert themselves and still deliver on all fronts. Whereas me, I will
They overbook themselves but still show up.
Yeah, and I'm like, how the fuck do you do that? And I'll try to do the same thing, and I will. I'll overbook myself, and then I won't go to any fucking thing.
Or you arrive but you're missing a limb.
Or, yeah, if I arrive, yeah, that's the thing, yeah. It's just, I oftentimes I'll be like, oh yeah, I'll do that.
Yeah.
I make plans
Well, that's
all the
why
time,
I'm
you know?
actually very afraid of making plans, just because then I get into this very anxious state of mind because I care so much about not disappointing in that regard.
So, but me, I'm like, if it doesn't happen, it doesn't happen. Life goes on. I know that life will go on for the other person. I know that life will go on for me for sure. So I'm going to try to do it. I'm really going to try to do it. But
I will
something else
lose
comes up.
sleep if I tell someone I'm going to meet you at 7 p.m. on this day. I'm going to lose sleep the night before because I'm going to be so afraid of missing it, because I don't want to let them down, that I end up feeling terrible and getting sick because I don't sleep, and then I have to miss it because I'm sick, and then I feel like hell, and it just keeps snowballing because that's how seriously I take that kind of stuff. It's so
rigid.
Well, first of all, it's very different from your approach. Second of all, it's on the other extreme.
Yeah, but they're both extremes.
Yeah.
I feel.
I think mine's even more to the extremes. Yours is still
It's just,
understandable.
but it feels so like
It's more nonchalant, I guess.
it's nonchalant, but it's also almost like people can interpret it as like
Inconsiderate.
inconsiderate. Yeah, and
As
that's
long as I
not
know
my-
not to take it personally. But I mean, it can still be frustrating. But because just I've explained to you that over the course of my life, I've had this happen to me so many times, and often I've never had a resolution. I don't
Were they
know.
all with B's?
Yeah, usually.
Yeah.
Jays don't let you down in that same way,
Interesting.
and
I know. I
that's
know.
why.
Eric used to
It's
get
because it's the order
really-
and freedom divide.
Eric used to get really, really frustrated with me.
Another INTJ, yeah.
Extremely frustrated with me, and I was like, "I'm sorry, man. He was like, just let me know. Just let me know."
Yeah.
Kind of like you did. Just let me know. And I'm like, Yeah.
And my frustration is pretty intense, but I feel like I don't have the social power to actually express my frustration with anybody. You know what I mean?
I'm just trying to make sure that it's
Charging, yeah.
which it's currently not.
Oh damn! This it? It must have
Yeah.
just fallen out. It was
It
in
does
there.
that, so that's like not really good about saying it. But yeah,
That's the battery power.
it's at 14, so that's
Okay.
actually much better than I thought it was.
Okay.
Like when we left the other place, it was way less than that. Alright, yeah, I just want to make sure it's charging. Yeah, I remember there were several times where I'd be like, yeah, I'll come through and hang out. And then after that, he was just like, we're not hanging out again.
Mhm.
And it would go months and months. It would just pass and we wouldn't hang out. And then I was like, oh man, I kind of miss hanging out with Eric.
That's the
Yeah,
stance
reach
I'd
out.
take if I felt like I had social power, but I feel like I have to.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Just because I don't have many options available to me, so I don't want to turn down people, especially people I like.
He deliberately chooses, like, he's
To prove a
like,
point.
No, he deliberately has like 2 or 3 people, like, that he considers close friends.
I would do that if
That's it.
I mean, that's how I operate.
Yeah. I
Right
think
now, I'm
if
trying
you-
to push
if you-
myself because I depend on my body and the chemicals.
So you're operating in a different way. He would never, like, go out of his way to try to do that. He's
But I'm saying my body will suffer for
Oh,
it if
yeah.
I don't push myself in this way. So I'm going against my makeup here.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I'm usually just I want a best friend, a best dude friend, and a woman, and and I want that to be the power trio. Just the right hand, the left hand. I want that kind of.
It's interesting.
For most of my life, I felt I had that like Florentine and Anita kind of thing going on, and then that just that's in the past
I
now.
kind of used to see things that way, but not anymore. Like, I just think that I don't know when that changed.
Yeah.
I really don't know. I wish
When you
I could
matured.
pinpoint it. I wish I could pinpoint when it changed, but it was definitely a thing where I started realizing that, like,
There's so many people out there.
and it all comes back to that. It's a very real thing. I think of the world and how vast the world is and how
And about
little
people
I know
each
about
teaching you, each person having something to show you.
something to offer me. Yeah.
And how can you limit it that?
Yeah. Even if what they teach you is something minor, it's not minor. It's not minor to them. Why should it be minor to you?
Exactly. I still do romanticize the close circle, the close-knit circle of like, this is the power troop right here. Even if we have friends
that's
everywhere.
Kind of like the Comfort Chicos concept.
It is.
But it can be that. And I
Every
think
group
that-
I've made, it's always like 6 guys. There's always like 6 blanks, and I want to fill those and have them all the 6-man elemental band kind of thing, like Power Rangers.
6. Strange.
I want 6 just because of the hexagon.
Okay.
Yeah. It's the honeycomb. Yeah.
It makes sense. I mean, with 6, it's such an even number. You can have 3 groups of 2. You can have 2 groups of 3.
Yeah.
You could have
Totally.
4 and 2, and those are both even numbers. It's very, I see. I know, it's stupid, but no, it's
No,
clicking.
it's not stupid.
It's clicking in my mind. It's like,
There's
wow.
like the cool.
So,
there
like,
might be a
these-
potential there.
These 2 can branch off and do this. and
These 3
2
kings.
Yeah, it's very interesting to me.
No, it is. It's like these are the different. These are go to this branch. These go to this chapter, and
Right.
no, that would be cool though.
Reminds me of, like, I don't know.
I want to have like the 6 emperors, and then each one begins like their own chapter, and they focus on something, and we all disperse at some point and go out and live in different locations. But we're each the leader of our own group, the 6 original ones. I kind of like that idea.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
Some groups start to sound to me like gangs or cults.
Oh
or
no,
the Wolves
because
of
it's all
Finland, or-
no.
Yeah.
It's all just chapters of a company.
So long as the foundation really boils down to
Philanthropy.
the size. Yeah, the
Yeah.
philanthropy and also the
Certainly, it's not like we're better than everyone else creatively or because of our philosophy.
like being cool is I don't know. Like, I think of the
You're being
wolves,
tempted. You're being
wolves-
tempted to get the
wolves
leather.
I'm like, oh man, they're so focused on being cool that it's not cool at all. You know, I don't find anything about what they do cool.
Well, I mean,
The mythology
they're more
is so-
of.
They're more of a gang, aren't they?
But that's what they wanted to be. So it's not just like, oops, it happens to the best of us. It's not like that. They wanted to be Fight Club. They were very susceptible, kind of losery mentality guys who wanted to be the cool guys. Yeah.
It's strange that you mentioned that. I was going to tell you that earlier. But, like, the body image that I find, like, the body I would want, ideally, is Brad Pitt from Fight Club.
Really?
Yeah,
Oh, he's got some.
But he's
ripped.
skinny, but he's ripped.
Yeah, he's got a cool shape too. The way his the curves when he stands, his back goes behind his. Do you know what I mean? It's like it goes behind his waist somewhat. There's like.
Yeah, it's very strange.
Yeah.
I've never seen a body type like that.
That's your ideal?
I don't even know if I could turn my body into that. Yeah, it's strange. If I could look like
My
that,
ideal was
like
always. He's this
muscular,
little guy
muscular.
with the totally different build.
Smaller shoulders.
Yeah, he had very small shoulders.
Is he as tall as you? Shorter than me.
Uh-huh.
Interesting. But he's skinny.
Yeah,
Interesting.
sure is.
Yeah.
I love how we have so many. This is like if we were a browser, we have about 60-something different tabs open
Yeah,
at
I'm
any
sorry
given
about
time.
that.
No, I'm pointing out how I like that. How we start these topics, but then we jump to another one, and so there's a lot of unfinished ones. The good thing is I'm recording this,
Yeah.
and we can find out.
We can sort through that.
We could just have a conclusion day. And I'll come up with like 300 topics that we never finished, and just we'll go.
We could do like a rapid fire.
Mm-hmm. Oh, remember this one? VAP vanilla. You know, you just come.
Yeah, just answer all 300 questions. Yeah, I think that would probably be funny.
That would be
That'd
really funny. And stories we never finished. Like, what happened after this point?
Yeah.
Oh.
But that's just how I operate. I wonder how many stories I haven't finished. But the thing is, I don't have like ADD or anything like that.
Who's to say? I mean, who's to say who has that? It's just a different type of brain. It doesn't mean it's a disorder.
But I do think that Will has something like that.
Really?
Like
It's just
ADHD.
ENTP. I don't know.
Perhaps.
Once you learn about the different cognitive processes, it's hard to call anything a disorder or a dysfunction. It's just a different order of, this guy's got intuition first, and it's being extroverted. Of course he's going to act like this because he's gathering data all the time.
What was it that Elena said earlier today? Antisocial something?
Yeah, antisocial. It's a disorder.
It is a disorder.
Yeah, which is, antisocial is pretty much sociopath.
Oh, okay. Are they one and the same?
Yeah, psychopath, sociopath, antisocial personality disorder is the official term. Because they don't use, and it's distinct from asocial.
Okay.
It's also distinct from asocial, there's asocial and then asocial personality disorder. They're very different things.
Are they nuanced? Like, are they similar? Are they
Anti and A?
an A and A disorder?
Yeah, they are. One's more like not built for it, and the other one's like opposed to it or something. One's
Okay.
Yeah, does that make sense? I don't think that that's the best description of the things, but it shows the distinction.
Right, that's what I'm looking for. So one is like opposed to.
One is like always getting into crime because they're just these punk
antisocial?
jerks. I think that's asocial.
Okay. Antisocial.
And one of them's avoidant personality disorder, which I mean is among those also.
What is BPD?
Borderline personality disorder.
Yeah, what is that?
That's why? Who has that?
I know. I thought I had it after reading the description.
Really?
I thought I did, but I don't know what it means.
It's kind of it often happens when you come from a broken home.
Oh, so I could have it.
Or childhood abuse, yeah.
So I very well could have it.
Yeah,
What
it's
is
also
the
very similar to post-traumatic stress disorder, so one could be misdiagnosed. My CPTSD looks very similar to borderline, but I don't have borderline. My fiance had borderline. It's like dependency issues and trust issues all boiled into this kind of frenetic mix.
Huh.
It's
Can they?
I think they also have a lot of problems with body image and substance abuse. So, you're laughing over there. I mean, it differs from case to case, but
Mm.
it's usually a lot of problems in relationships, and usually end up repeating the same pattern that destroyed them in the first place again and again and again.
Mm.
And just like depending on the romantic partner to kind of provide a sense of self or worth, or I think I have that right. I mean, I'd have to check the criteria. I mean, I know I practice psychology, but at the same time, I'm not about diagnostics. I'm just about like what's bothering you and how can we fix it. Because I don't do pills or,
Yeah.
labels. Not that I'm one of those new agey anti-label
things about
people, but
borderline personality. It could resemble.
but here's the thing. I mean, a disorder is a cluster. I mean, the symptoms themselves can be in several other disorders. And some of them, I mean, if you just have one symptom, I mean, that might just be completely normal. So, don't be quick to diagnose yourself. But if it helps you, it's very possible
Is that the
from your
point of the
background
diagnostics?
to know how to seek
help
help.
people. Yeah.
It's often a tool used, between psychology and psychiatry, just to know how to get them the right pills or the right, so people understand how to handle them. But at the same time, it's harmful.
Okay.
It can be harmful.
Can I get Adderall for it?
Not BPD, no. That's just
It does me no good.
You would, I don't know what you get, just antidepressants.
Hmm?
I think, if anything, antidepressants.
Yeah.
And those suck.
I don't.
Have you ever had them?
Never, and never
Good.
want them.
Good. They'll ruin you.
I don't think I need them.
You don't. No one needs them.
I don't want to even introduce them because I feel like once you do, your
They'll
brain
shut down the
chemistry
real you. Yeah.
is warped, and that's not something I really want to take lightly or play around with.
No.
I think good
It's
old
not about
working
healing you. It's about making you manageable for the people
Making
around
you-
you. It's society, and it's
making you dependent on pharmaceuticals and making
That too,
money
yeah.
off of
all these things. I mean, if you read any article, I mean, antipsychotics, they make you worse. The prognosis, they make the prognosis less likely that you'll recover. But it's just so that you can be dealt with by the people around you, so that they can put up with you.
Wow.
It's not about you. It's about them. I overcame everything that I experienced without any pills.
I don't think you need them. I don't think you need them.
Said with the finger in your mouth.
Man, I have this thing in my tooth that's been bothering me all day.
Is it a waffle?
It's a waffle. No, it's I don't know what it is. Something stuck in behind it. I need a floss.
Yeah, but I honestly don't think anybody needs those pills. I mean, there are cases where someone has some kind of genetic, almost, not retardation, but where there's these really obvious imbalances that exist independently of traumatic circumstances.
Yeah.
Something that's more physical.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying that...
Impedance, like a mental impedance.
Yeah, but, I mean, some of those people might need some help, but I think I don't know, I'm increasingly critical of psychiatry and psychology as they are practiced in the mainstream.
Okay.
And I don't want to sound like some new age, just pray to God and it'll be all right kind of hippie.
Yeah.
I don't believe that way anyway, but naturopathy or something.
homeopathy.
My mom's a homeopath.
Oh man,
Kind
this is
of,
the
yeah.
worst. My
Yeah.
family kind of comes from that too. My mother and my grandmother, aloe vera.
Yeah, just sniff this
Everything.
chamomile and everything will be all right.
Right.
And it's just like, no, everyone in our house is sick beyond the limits of what is acceptable. It's like everything's not all right if you put on this vapor rub.
There's such different extremes, like there's homeopathy,
My mom sells that stuff, so it's like she pushes it on.
and then there's the big pharma
Ah.
approach too. So there aren't opposite ends of the spectrum, but they're both kind of doing the same thing.
Yeah.
And it's like trying to find how to be healthy without having to go either direction. I understand you're desperate I would be desperate too in your scenario.
In me specifically?
No,
Okay.
I'm saying in
Just
general,
anybody, yeah.
Whoever has a health issue
Totally.
or anything. It could be you, could be anybody else. I would be desperate for a solution for it as well.
Yeah.
But if you can find, I'd rather try something else before I would try becoming dependent on something.
Yeah, I agree.
I don't know why that is.
I mean, even something like meditation, that's an even better.
That is something, yeah.
I don't meditate myself, and I never have, but I
It's-
still, reflection and just all that kind of stuff is
It's funny.
powerful.
Earlier today, I had just gotten out the shower.
Yeah.
Sorry, I kind of cut you off.
No, you didn't. I don't know.
I was just quick with this thought. I got out the shower. And I had the towel around me, and I went to my room. I was listening to my music in my room, face down, like I normally do. Also, since I was a kid, this is a weird fact to throw out there. I'm gonna tell that story, but yeah, I used to bang, I never stopped. I would bang my head
On the
into
bed?
pillow, into the pillow.
Every day or what?
Since I was like 3 years old, I still do it. When I go to sleep, I listen to music, I bang my head.
Really?
It's the most serene thing, just banging my head. It's just a weird idiosyncrasy thing.
I mean, I've done that before too, so I can picture the sensation in my head.
It's such a great sensation.
But
Oh my
it's not
God.
a habit or anything with me.
Oh, for me, it's been a lifelong habit, and it works
Does it,
out
like, calm you
perfectly.
down,
But I like
kinda?
metal. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's something I do to go to sleep.
Interesting.
It's a very strange thing. Anyway, my dad.
It lulls you to sleep? Yeah. I remember when I was a kid,
I always sleep face down, and I always bang my head.
you do sleep face down? Do you sleep on your stomach then?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I used to sleep on my stomach, but I'd have my head turned, and I'd have one...
If I sleep on my side, or if I sleep on my back, I have nightmares.
Really?
Yes.
I have to sleep on my back for the last few years because of my hernia issue.
Oh my
because
God.
I don't want to sleep on that. I haven't... That's usually when it's worse for sleep paralysis, though, when you're on your back.
On my side. No, something just clicked.
You look like you had a prophecy.
Oh, I had something click, and I wonder if that's even interconnected. Sleeping on my back, certain things that happen in my life. Maybe that's why I have nightmares when I do. Could that
I
be?
think you're more prone to sleep paralysis and nightmares when you're on your back.
When you're on your back?
Yeah.
Okay.
Because you're a lot more vulnerable.
Interesting.
And I think that translates. I mean, that fact somehow makes it back to your unconscious mind and produces these paranoid dreams.
But
Because you're still aware that you're in a vulnerable...
But there was an instance in my life where I couldn't sleep on my stomach, so it was necessitated that I slept on my back.
Yeah.
And so I was neither comfortable and also probably what you just described. So
Mhm.
those two things stacked together.
That's how I am. It's like I'm not the most comfortable on my back, but I have to.
Mm.
And I'd prefer my stomach, honestly. So,
Yeah, I always prefer sleeping face down.
yeah.
I don't know why. But yeah, it's interesting. But yeah, I was banging my head listening to music. It's actually earlier this morning when I was listening to Carver City. My dad knocked on my door and he cracked it open. I should have fucking locked it. But it doesn't matter really. I was dressed, or sort of. I was covered. And he noticed, and I was doing that. And I pulled my earphone and I was like, "Hey, what's up?" And he was like, I'm just going to Sam's Club here shortly. You're welcome to tag along so we get some food for the house. I was like, alright, cool. I think the moral of the story, well, not the moral of the story, but the purpose of the story was going into, meditation. That was always my meditation.
Okay. No, I see
Music
that.
in my ears, banging my
And that
head.
rhythm, yeah.
That's always been a thing.
Yeah, meditation doesn't have to be some kind of kind of...
Yeah, it never has for me, but
I'm-
that always has been my meditation.
Yeah.
Yeah. I wonder if it's strange. It's become such a big thing for me. Is that emotion that, like, I wonder when I get married or settle down.
And then you're sharing a bed with
I
someone?
won't be able to do that, yeah.
Yes, you can. Why not? Anybody who loves you will put up with that.
I don't know if I could put up with a girl banging her head to sleep.
But how much do you do that? Like for minutes?
Until I go to sleep.
You
But
just
I
do
don't.
that for
I don't always. I can still go without. So like, the last several months, or yeah, when I was working for that company and living out of a hotel,
Mm-hmm.
I was sleeping on a cot in a corner.
And you couldn't do it?
I couldn't do it, and I learned how to just get by without doing it. But yeah,
Well, do you feel like you were more anxious because of that absence?
not necessarily, but I
Okay.
did realize that when I came home on the weekends, I would do it for longer.
You got the bang debt.
I
Yeah.
had to, the bang debt. It's been a very,
That's
yeah.
It's like
And also, that's a double entendre. Not a double entendre, but dual purpose, because also, when I came into town,
sex.
I needed to have sex. If I didn't have sex within the 2 days that I was back in town, and then I went another 4 days in a hotel, I was just like,
And did it happen?
most often with Noah,
Yeah.
she'd come over, and
Banged it.
Yeah, banged it. Banged up. No, I remember, there was a period of time where, and it was just the most frustrating thing. Because I'm around 4 other guys, or I was around 4 other guys in a hotel room where I slept in a sleeping bag on a cot.
Sounds
corner.
so uncomfortable.
Extremely. I had no space to myself. I had nothing.
And you're surrounded by a bunch of guys who'd probably chew you up if you said you were uncomfortable.
Guys who were extremely redneck.
Manly and...
Completely unrelatable. Completely unrelatable.
Damn.
The only thing we could kind of relate was that we played video games.
Really?
But we didn't even play the same type of video games.
You play like racing?
They played Call of Duty.
Oh, okay.
And I was just like, man, this fucking sucks. Oh, this sucks. And I had no privacy.
Yeah.
But man, then I started branching out a little bit more. And when I was in Chesapeake, there was one hotel that we went to more than any other place. It was a Suites for Less. And right next door, I found out there was a YMCA and my membership was valid, so I started going over there.
Oh, the gym?
Yeah.
Nice.
Which was perfect for me.
To let out that,
But the thing
frustration.
is, 12 hours a day, I would get up at 5:30 in the morning, get to work at 6, work 6 a.m. to 6 p.m., come back home to the hotel sometimes 6:30, sometimes 7, depending on traffic. Then I would go to the gym immediately after and work out.
That is a very physical routine you have there.
Oh, man. And the whole day I was just out cutting trees and stuff like that. It was very... But I loved that I had at least that outlet. And then there was a bar, the Eagle's Nest.
Mm.
And I would go there. And I had a favorite waitress. She was gorgeous.
Mm.
I would give her ridiculous tips. I'd give her $80 tips once a week. Yeah.
Once a week?
Yeah, once every week.
Wow.
Wednesday night I would go there, play cornhole or...
That's the extra $6 an hour that you were making doing the lumberjack thing or whatever over what you're doing now.
Yeah.
That was the difference being given a...
Yeah. Every week.
Oh, man. And she was just a waitress? She wasn't like a stripper?
Not a stripper, not a waitress. Never seen her naked, never kissed her. Never, nothing.
Interesting.
She was just my friend. She was my friend during that period of time. Somebody I talked to who wasn't Noi.
Mm-hmm. Interesting.
I thought the other girl looked just like her.
I know the one with the reddish hair. It was kind of purple.
Yeah, they
I
might
kept
as well.
confusing them.
I kept thinking, wow, they look so similar.
I wonder if that
wanted
is
to mention
something.
that.
Yeah.
I wonder if they, yeah.
I wonder if it's a sore spot.
How dare you compare me? Imagine me going there. Oh, imagine if we had gone in there and not realized that they both worked there and thought that one was the other.
Oh, I wouldn't have confused them, but
I could have.
I wouldn't have.
I could have. I'm not as good with memorization.
She's funny though. She's got like a... She's not just... She doesn't have like these vapid remarks when she's trying to... I mean, she makes like these quirky...
Yeah.
It's interesting because, I mean, a lot of the conversation I hear in places like that are very vapid. And it's just like, oh, nice shirt. You know, but she'll like drop these
deduct.
weird... Yeah.
She'll deduct and she'll be like, oh yeah.
Come up with these weird examples and it's just hilarious. It's cute.
I think it's cool.
Mm-hmm.
And it's very, like, she would have been good to invite that girl to the goth night.
Wait. Invite her?
If I were Jill and I went up to the girl.
Oh, with that kind
Goodwill?
of quirky sense of humor, you mean?
Yeah, like, oh,
Hmm.
yeah. I probably would have been able to even convince that girl to come to goth night. Well, I'm probably gonna call it tonight because it's
Oh, right, yeah.
1:30.
Oh, I understand. Wow.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
No, don't apologize. I had a good time with you, and we
Such
spent
a
the whole
great
day together.
Yeah, for the most part.
Yeah.
I mean, I could have theoretically, like, I wouldn't mind getting up even earlier
I wouldn't either. Yeah, because I wake
on
up
a
around
Saturday.
10.
on a Saturday.
Yeah.
Like
Like
being able to-
noonish, just
noonish to
like
whenever-
12 to 12 kind of
to
hang out.
whenever we feel exhausted, I guess.
Yeah.
It's
Nice.
pushing me though too, the nature of this friendship, and you know, just trying to
Pushing you in what sense? Like towards
develop.
growth?
It's a development push.
Yeah, that's the exact word I would have used, because I mean I feel that on my end too, and it's not just. There's an element of I'm feeling charged up, like I really want to. I don't know how to describe it. There's encouragement. It's not just pushy. It's making me want to try harder, I guess. I think we're both very introverted people, and it's like I said before, you're not just some extroverted, who cares? You're great at these things, but that I suck at, but why? Because it's natural? No, because you exerted that effort.
I had to
And
build
I respect
myself
that.
up. I had to build myself up, but
I noticed that
I
too.
surrounded myself with extroverted people too. That was one of my methods as well. Extroverted people who I would just like pick apart and realize, all right, so
You'd analyze how
they
they're
would do
successful.
this.
Yeah.
Yeah, I did. I was like, they're able to do this because
Interesting.
of this. And did a lot of social experiments, and I was like, all right, if I don't care so much, if I care a lot less, I can accomplish more.
Oh, it's true.
And there's something about
Desire is enslavement. It's that idea I always come back down to. The more you expect, the more you want of something, the harder it is to get it.
Yeah,
It's
there's
strange.
something about that. That like the actualization. I
It's
think
unfortunate, yeah.
like the more I want to become prog metal guitars,
The more expectations that are
Yeah,
piled on,
the
you're
more
smothering
difficult it
yourself.
is. Even staring at a blank page is the hardest thing for me.
Blank page, huh?
Yeah,
That's my
blank
favorite
page.
thing in the world.
Blank page is almost like sacred because of all the potential that it could be.
I
It
love
could
it
be
because I
anything.
never force it to be anything it doesn't want to be. I
need
just
to-
hold no
I
expectations
need to
in
learn
myself.
how to do that.
Dude,
I
I will get you
started to.
across that sea.
I started to though. I started to, and that's why when I was booting up my computer and playing some of that stuff for you,
Mm-hmm.
I realized that those were ideas that I actually captured somehow and put them, and they weren't the most refined ideas, and they weren't exactly what I wanted them to be, but I can work with them because it's something as opposed to starting blank all over again. So that's where I want to start.
And I know you enjoyed listening to that stuff again because those were
Yeah.
pieces of your history. They
Yeah,
and they
it meant
embodied the
something.
emotion and the thought of that moment in
There's
time.
so much more though that I could produce like that. I just need to get into that routine again.
And if you just wipe away this stupid idea of perfection and realize that the most perfect thing to have is just to get as much of your mind out into the physical as possible, just so you could. I don't know.
That's interesting.
That's how I saw it.
But,
Perfect is just let's see how much I can.
But the blank space and the potential is the hard part for me because I think of
All
you
that it
know,
could be.
This could be so much, and then I think of like, all right, if I were somebody else, they would do this differently altogether.
You know, it's weird. I mean, you're looking at me probably as someone who doesn't struggle with that, but I do when it comes to writing,
Really?
like novels and even autobiography. That it was just like word choice. There are 100 different ways to write this sentence, and there's got to be a perfect one. And I mean, realistically, there could be many that sound great, but I was just so fixated on what is the best one, and I wanted every line in my 2,000-page book to be
Perfect.
poetry that can be taken out of context and thrown up on someone's wall and framed, and that was just not
Wow.
realistic. And I spent 3 or 4 years on a book that's still so far from done, and I've had to revise it about 6 times.
And you would have done the same with the music had you got the opportunity to. Those demos.
I don't think so, because I actually, unlike writing, I was passionate about that music, and because of how I treated it, I don't know how to
Weren't
describe
those
it.
supposed to be demos though, where you would revisit them and?
In a sense, but at the same time, I was satisfied with them in their own right. I wanted to make more of them someday, but saying that just allowed me to love what I had. And I mean, there was even an element of it, like, am I just pushing this off indefinitely? And just to get myself to love what I have right here in front of me?
Right.
And even if that's the case, man, I love what I did more than, I mean, I told you, that was the funnest I've ever had in my life, despite all that was going on around me. Just being able to get that out of myself and to hear it out here before I even heard it in here. Well, it's like I felt it in here. To be able to convert feelings into this sonorous,
that's something I want to tap into.
it's wonderful.
Because I never know which comes first. If it's just produced and then reorganized, or if it's built in here and then it's put out there. I never know which is the right approach, and I don't think there is a right approach, but I'm always constantly trying to figure out. I even asked Will that. I was like, what do you do? He's like, it's all accidental. He was like, I don't have any theories. That's what Cole does. Cole will lend his theory knowledge to it, but it's in terms of me writing.
We were talking about how Cole's probably an INTP too.
Yeah.
And but Will, that's interesting because he'd have the same functions, but there's a different order. His extrovert intuition is above his TI.
Mm-hmm.
And I wonder what difference that makes. But I agree more with what Will's saying. It's a happy accident. It's just a, wow, where did that come from? I reached in the air and pulled out this egg.
But he also has like a lot more tools and stuff.
Yeah.
Like he focuses a lot more on.
Are you? Is that in favor of his type? You mean? As being?
No, not necessarily. I think that's just his tools. I mean, his tools would be just, how do I describe it?
Are we speaking of like?
I'm talking about his instruments and his pedals.
Compared to who though?
His gear compared to me.
Okay.
Yeah.
You feel like he has more means to create?
Right.
Okay.
Right.
And you feel like that changes his attitude?
No, that changes the outcome. That changes, because if I had more tools, then I would have more to work with, which would mean that I have more.
But it's still his attitude that allows him to exceed. It's not his tools, it's his attitude. He sees it as something beyond him that he's tapping into temporarily, rather than something he's responsible for. And that's kind of the secret to success.
What is it?
You're seeing it as something that you're temporarily tapping into that exists beyond you, and you're just lucky enough to experience and even channel it.
That's what Serge was saying.
Yeah, that's what any prolific artist will tell you. Stop thinking of it as coming from you. You're tapping into something beyond yourself that you have no control over. And as soon as you stop attempting to take responsibility for it or steer it in the direction you want to take it, you end up just directing that flow.
But to me, I value the tools that go into the creation of it. They're like spices. It's like cooking. I can make macaroni and cheese one way, or I can make it another way, and it could be the same dish, right?
Yeah.
So like my song versus Will's song, but since Will has like 8 different types of cheeses, his is gonna taste more robust and flavorful. And
that's not necessarily the case,
I have
though.
one type of cheese, and it's gonna taste like plain macaroni and cheese.
Yeah, I don't necessarily agree with that. That the abundance of ingredients would mean that it would somehow taste better.
If it tastes,
I think it would even be more confused.
Not necessarily. If it's tastefully done right, like if it's meticulously or like well done.
I mean, there's more potential
I'd
for
rather
something
have more,
for something great.
I'd rather have more to work with.
It's hard to really, that analogy. I mean, it works to a point, but at the same time,
there's probably a better analogy out there. I'm just thinking of, all right, maybe if I had these different guitars with these different configurations of pickups and these effect pedals, and
what you need to do is just get a hero that, a musical inspiration that doesn't work with a whole lot, and really hear what that's capable of.
Gardner's not necessarily.
Oh no, I'm not referring to that, but I'm thinking you're comparing yourself to like Leprous studio quality and all this stuff. I want to see you find a band that you just fall in love with that's just so different from everything you know that it just wipes away your preconceived notion of what is acceptable. And I mean, that could...
What does that mean, though? Yeah, I don't know what that means.
I mean, like, my favorite band is Circle of Boros, and that's just...
Right.
And that just got me to just like, wow, okay, I guess quality is nothing, or quality is a tool, and that can be, you can gain something from bad quality or lower quality that isn't present in the better quality, you know, and that's the intimacy in my opinion. But I'm just saying there are so many bands out there who, I mean, you're referring to a very
Yeah,
the
it's
high
outside of-
echelon of quality.
It's strange that they would end up being the high echelon of quality, because I always thought that they were just like kind of not obscure, but not that big.
I mean,
not
but
that popular.
with all the music in today's world, I mean, how few of them are actually signed to a big label like that? Like what, less than 1%?
Inside Out Records.
Oh, I don't know.
It's not even that big of a label, to be honest.
Okay.
But
Well, it's all
they
about
are-
the studio, really.
Yeah, Fascination Street Studio.
Okay.
Responsible for Devin Townsend. Responsible
big
for
deal,
Opeth,
yeah.
Responsible for things like that.
That is the
It's a
prog
big
metal
deal
label.
For prog, for prog. Yeah, good prog.
GOG. Yeah, well, now that we made it back to Prague, I'm going to really let you go so that
All
we
right.
don't take this too late.
Sounds good, man.
Draco says, well, you,
All right, dude.
you take it easy, bro.
Yeah, we'll catch up soon.
We will.
I'll let you know.
Do you want to set a date now, or do you just want to set that over
I-
Facebook?
Yeah, I'd rather set that up in
All right.
Appreciate that.
Yeah. My bad.
But sooner than
Oh, yeah. Do I have anything else floating around real quick? Let me see. My glasses.
Yeah.
I think that's it. Here's a cord. Is this my cord? That's yours. All right, that's everything. Take it easy, man. Yeah. Go listen to that Catatonia on the way home. Yeah, it's good driving music, I tell you. The first song's actually the only one I usually skip, but yeah, it has like a few live tracks at the end. I'm not a fan of the first song because it's such a weird. Well, I mean, it's okay. I mean, it's okay. It just starts off kind of on a weird note, but I mean, it's not bad. But I usually skip it. But yeah, I guess you can just listen all the way through. All right, right on. I hope you like it. I love that album. Okay, man. Take care.